Yeah, little creepy.
Yes, this is Monday. The delivery is Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Or at least it's expected. It better be here tomorrow. Anyway, so as you can see, our mats have not been placed inside of our aquarium just yet. And that is because some things need to take place inside the aquarium. First of all, before we even get there, let's take a look at these plastic canvas mats themselves. Now, these were purchased at Walmart for like $2. And as you can see, holding them vertically, they are a little bit taller than the tank, and holding them horizontally, they fall just short. So what I did with the first mat already, as you can see, is cut it at a particular height where if I were to literally shove this all the way down into the bottom, it'll still be standing up. So what I'm going to do is cut this second one as well. Now, after cutting this second one of these is going to be placed in here already. However, we want this mat to cover the back wall. Now that means that this filtration system is going to have to move. I'm going to move the filtration onto the side wall here, where you see the magnetic scraper tool and our thermostat, and that's going to create a flow that moves laterally across the tank. Now, on top of that, our beautiful Tui and all her glory is going to have to be temporarily pushed aside so that these mats can be placed down into the substrate. I do want them to get down as far as they possibly can. Now, if I only get them as far down as the molding, I should still be able to stand these mats straight all the way up. However, if I do not, if I get them all the way down to the silicone, I still should be able to stand them all the way up. So the goal here is to create a back wall, an entire back wall of moss. So we'll have one mat here and one mat here. But again, before we can put them in there, we're gonna have to do some housekeeping. So first, let's get these mats cut. This is my cut in. And as you can see, I will have 2 canvas pieces that will be able to cover the entirety of the back wall. Now, I'm thinking because these are two different pieces that are going to be overlapping, what I want to do is take some of that moss and put some on each mat, and it should end up spreading across the mats. I also intend on having the moss itself towards the back so that it's trying to actually grow out of the mats themselves. Now, to aid with this standing up in the back, of course we have our super deep substrate. Thank you, Father Fish. Of course we have our super deep substrate here that's going to kind of help keep them vertical, but that's not necessarily going to stop these from curling and bending over. What should, however, is some suction cups. Now, at the time of this recording, I honestly don't know where to get the suction cups from. So we're going to have to figure that out, and that's probably going to be in our next update. But in the meantime, it's time to roll up the sleeves, or rather, it's time to take off this flashy, yardy shirt, and get in there and start moving some things around, particularly that filter. The plants and the heater, we could wait till tomorrow to actually move. Well, no, the heater is actually going to be moved today as well. I want the heater to be somewhere in the mix of the flow of the tank. That way, as the water's circulating, it's actually passing over the heater. And then to add to that, the plants, they'll be staying where they are. Tui is going to be staying where she is until tomorrow, when she'll be pushed forward. And as I said before, I'll have some moss attached to these mats. So let's get started. One more thing that I left out. This is going to be our new gang valve. While the gang valve may actually aid in keeping our mats in place with its hangover extension, the real reason that we're going to be replacing the one that's up there is because this unit actually has a pass-through. So with the pass-through on it, I'll be able to send it to the Better Kingdom, because remember, all of this is ran on one pump. And by sending, I won't have to continue to use the T down there. And then this broken unit, this old unit that came from the 1990s, I'll be able to take it upstairs and I'll be able to use one of the control valves on it to control that flow on the Guppy bowl that's upstairs, which is probably an update that you guys have already seen by the time you see this. This is probably coming out in March, even though it's happening here in January. So now problem number one, our heater has a power cord that is not going to allow it to reach onto that wall over here on the right. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to unplug and replug the heater back in. No, that's not going to do. That's unacceptable. I can't do that. Now again, folks, we are using a singular air pump to power both the air stone in the Better Kingdom as well as our two air feature units, which is this decorative waterfall piece and our filtration unit. There we go. Now, in all honesty, that's a little heavy. But that's too much on the waterfall. And as you can see, this is a delicate process. And now, because the waterfall feature is the least important, it's best that I adjust to get that right first, and then make the proper adjustment for this filtration unit that also allows for proper flow into the Better Kingdom. Again, that's just a little bit heavy, but that's way too heavy. And this right here can't be too heavy as far as I'm concerned. And I'm taking a look down here at our near right buddy, and folks, I believe he may have passed away. That trap door is looking pretty loose. Oh, well, you know what? I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like it's shut. So I'm going to leave him in here for a couple more days just to see how he fares. But the rest of my alterations that I'm going to do are going to be off camera, and I'm going to try to clean up some of this sand. Even though I'm still getting bubbles, I'm going to try to clean up some of this sand on these leaves, straighten out these leaves, and try to get things ready for tomorrow. Alrighty, folks. Last part of this particular part of the update. Let's see, we've got things pretty much back in order. The critter cage is just here because I really don't have any place else to put it. But if we look past that, you'll see that what I've done was I actually just flipped the leaves over, with the exception of that one. I just kind of laid it down. But we flipped our leaves over. I can guarantee you that tomorrow there'll be sand on them, because God only knows how many more bubbles this substrate is going to create. I did kick up some dust. I'm not worried about cleaning anything off of any of these leaves, not just yet, because excuse me, we still have work to do on that back wall, and that's where these come in. These will be placed on that back wall, and we'll check that out tomorrow. Now, what's interesting is back here, I do believe I see some snail clutches. Yes, from those pest snails. Yes, they are still getting busy. And look at that. Yes, we've got... oops, you okay? But this was the star of the show anyway. That was the one I really wanted to get. We've got babies in here, so we've got some more pest snails. So likely tomorrow or tonight when I do my feeding, I'll probably set me another trap so that I can get me some more of these wonderful cleanup crew buddies over into the Better Kingdom to help clean off Audrey 2's roots. And as you can see, Tui's roots are, I mean, even with the dust that's been kicked up, she's looking pretty good, you know. Even back here, she's got leaves. Now, one thing I haven't done yet was find a solution for this situation right here, because as you can see, I've burnt one of the leaves. So what I'm thinking is if maybe, yeah, I really don't want to use this canvas because I don't know if it's going to melt. But I'm thinking I could place something here that's going to ensure that everything stays towards that way. And I'll work on figuring something out in the meantime. But as you can see, we've got this one dead leaf right here on Tui. And again, you know, these leaves are holding on, but they're not looking very well. they're thin. They're not as fleshy as they should be. They're not as fleshy and rubbery as Audrey 2 or some other sections of 2E are. You know, over here, I mean, if I could describe this, this is almost as rough as human skin. It's just a little waxy, you know. But this line is doing well. I cannot imagine why this line is not. But we will figure it out. We will get to the bottom of this. But on that note, I'm going to bring this update to a close. And in next week's update, we'll get back to the present, because this was a flashback. We'll get back to the present, and we'll get the moss in. And on that note, folks, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. As always, I ask that if you know anybody out there suffering from any forms of mental illness, that you please reach out to them. You do not have to be a healthcare professional or a mental health professional. Just reach out, have a conversation, just talk to your fellow earthlings. It's not going to hurt you. You know, you never know what effect that can, what effect that can have. You can prevent a tragedy, or you can create a miracle. But you never know if you don't put any energy out there to actually show some type of concern, care, and love for your fellow earthlings. And on that note, I'm closing out, as always, with, don't forget that winners aren't people that never fail, they're people that never quit, people that never give up. So don't you dare quit, don't you dare give up, especially not on yourselves. This is Dead Fred 821. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you stay up to date. And I am out of here, folks. Peace.